like clothes, but that shit's
Snow
expensive.
clothes. Get it, Mike?
uh,
Oh,
Wacky wavy inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky wavy inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control.
So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, like, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, you know? Yeah.
Mind control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's. Mind control.
On today's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing Gaspar Noé's newest film, CLIMAX, which was originally released in France on September 19, 2018, and later was picked up by production company A24 and released in the US on March 1st, 2019. The film was written and directed by Gaspar Noé and stars Sofia Boutella and Soila Jacob as the only two actors with actual acting experience. The rest of the cast features dancers from various different backgrounds with little to no acting experience. CLIMAX was shot in an abandoned school in Paris, France in chronological order over a 15-day period. While filming CLIMAX, the premise, the characters' basic personality traits, and the early dance sequence were the only planned scenes in the movie. The rest of the story was improvised by the cast. CLIMAX tells the story of a dance troupe celebrating their last night of rehearsals together. Unknown to everyone else, one of the dancers has spiked the sangria with a massive amount of LSD. As the party descends into madness, the movie unveils the brutality of human nature through the loss of control displayed by the characters involved, all while showcasing many different styles of dance. The film depicts a family of sorts falling apart at the seams as every moment grows increasingly more chaotic, dealing with themes such as abortion, incest, and death, coupled with the amazing choreography, make this film one wild ride. This is Gaspar Noé's CLIMAX. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mind Control. I'm Corey.
I'm Mikey.
Had to throw it back since you did it earlier. But yeah, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going to be doing CLIMAX. It's Gaspar Noé film. We've done Gaspar Noé on here before, actually. 2 episodes ago? We did Enter the Void. And Enter the Void is, if you've seen the episode, is about this dude who smokes DMT, ends up getting killed, his spirits wandering from place to place as he's like going through the whole process of rebirth and shit. But for me, CLIMAX was the first experience I've had with Gaspar Noé. And I remember seeing the preview for it, and A24, I think I've talked to you about it. A24 is like my favorite production company. Like any movie they do, I'm normally like, all right, I gotta at least give it a fucking shot because they do crazy shit. So I remember seeing the scenes to this and then reading that what it was about and about like the sangria being spiked with LSD, and I was like, oh shit, this sounds like amazing. So going into the movie, I was super hyped about it, and like I got Frankie to watch it. And you know, for people who have saw or heard Enter the Void, the podcast, or have seen any of his movies, would know that he is very it's very in your face, very I don't want to say provocative, but it's
controversial, provocative,
subject matter that a lot of people are kind of scared to touch, and he touches it in a very just right in your fucking face way. And so for me, CLIMAX, I didn't know anything about him as a director when I went to see it or when we watched it. So like the first half of the movie, if you've seen the movie, which you have, the fucking amazing dance sequence, amazing. Like one of the first scenes is this dance sequence, and it's fucking amazing. And then halfway through the movie, it just gets chaotic, crazy, disturbing, and it just all happens so, I feel like, so quick. Like it's very much like a psychedelic trip to me. Like the first half of the movie is like coming up, and then the second half of the movie is full blown when you're in the trip, when it's just it just hits, when you're coming up and you're like, oh shit, when's it gonna hit? And then there's that point you're like, what the fuck is going on? I feel like that's exactly how this movie plays out. You're like, oh, this is amazing, and then you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
And I think that's why he put those credits in the middle of the movie. I think he put the like not the end credits, but like a lot of the musical credits, and he redid the directors, and I mean himself as the director and the actors, and then he did musicians or whoever else did music in it, and the fucking in the middle of the movie. And I think that signifies like this is the end of the happy part of the movie. You're about to get fucking shit on, And that's why like that movie's over. This new movie's about to start. So
I was wondering too. Because like I actually wanted to get into that, like what you were saying about the middle of the movie, but I would like to hear, I guess, your perspective. Because for me, the first time I saw it, I was very like, whoa, this shit is crazy. Frankie didn't like it at all, like especially the ending with. I mean, she loved the beginning, but she did not like the part with the kid and all the shit that happens, which we'll get into. But for me, like I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I watched it a second time. I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm even ready to watch it again. But the third time I watched it, which was yesterday. When I watched it again, I realized, oh shit, this actually might be one of my favorite movies. Maybe not story-wise exactly, because the story is very disjointed, but just the dancing, the actual camera work, the colors, the way it looks, the actual like energy that comes from the movie is just so engrossing. Like I think we talked about like Enter the Void. It's not even like a movie. It's more like going into an experience. Like almost, it's almost like going into you're going into your own little psychedelic trip. It's not even like really watching a movie. It's like, whoa, like you're just kind of like engrossed in it the whole time. And then you have a point where you think, and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And I think it's amazing. And the more I watch it, I feel like the more I'm just inevitably going to keep liking it more and more, because I feel like it's so in your face the first time that that's kind of what you come away with, which I feel like are probably like all his movies. You get that just in your face, and the more you watch it, you're like, "Oh shit!" Like, there's a lot of interesting things going on here,
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of Gaspar's, like his specialties, I guess. Gaspar Noé, or Gaspar, I think Gaspar Noé. Why did you say Gasper?
I think I said Gasper. Gasper, the friendly ghost, bro. Fuck.
Nah, I think it's Gaspar, but that's one of his specialties, is that it's not a movie you're watching. It's something. It's like literally an experience you're having, and he does it. And there's something about his mind and the way his camera work is, and the way he uses his music, and the way that he allows the actors to be free and be themselves. It's not even in just his movie. In his other, obviously I've only seen Enter the Void, but also from what I've heard about him, he's just really good at allowing the viewer to have an experience and feel things and inciting feelings and making you feel something, even if it's awkward or you don't even like the feeling. Like most people wouldn't like this movie. Most people would say this movie sucked and it was corny or something, but I think that it's maybe not corny. I think that they would say that it sucked. It was slow. It was weird and crazy, but I think that it's because, in a sense, that experience of being on acid with dozens of people in this psychotic fucking evil bad trip would be corny, or not corny, but awkward and weird and uncomfortable. And the movie makes you feel those feelings, but it's like, it's weird to feel those feelings while you watch a movie, and some people can't understand that or won't understand that. And it's interesting to me that you said that Frankie said that she hated it, because go ahead.
So Frankie did like the movie, but yeah, I feel like the scene with Tito, who is the kid, when he fries himself, that was like the part where she kind of looked at me and she's like, all right, I'm gonna finish this movie, but I never want to watch it again. And I was like, yeah, I get it, understandable. But then and I honestly, when I first watched it, I felt not a similar way, but I remember feeling like, I don't really need to see this again. Like, this shit was crazy. Yeah. But then Dada wanted to see it. So I was like, oh, bro, I'll watch it with you. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, you know what? This is actually a pretty fucking good movie. I was I just was so thrown off the first time because I didn't know that his movies are supposed to be like that I was just like, it just hit me in the gut. So I didn't really pay attention. And then I did, but it was just fucking chaos. So the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a good movie. But yeah, for Frankie, that was like the deal breaker. But she did say, though, she's like, I am glad I watched it once, though, because she was saying too, she's like, the dancing was amazing. I was like, yeah, that was the first thing that got me, was this dance sequence. I was like, whoa, this movie is
That's
gonna
you,
be
Dano?
fucking dope.
Let's see right there.
The screen.
Ow! He looks like you. You can do that shit.
Get down, bro.
Sorry.
But yeah, man. I fucking, like I said, like definitely love this movie way more than Enter the Void. Enter the Void was a little too, I don't want to say pretentious, but it was like, because I wouldn't like, after watching interviews with him, I would say he's anything but pretentious. But like Enter the Void just felt, I think we talked about it, like it was too long, too dragged out. And this movie is like an hour and a half, and I feel like it's, I think in the beginning you said you felt it was a little slow, and for me, I don't feel like it's ever really slow. Like I feel like this movie was like on the whole time. That's what I liked about it. Like I was constantly like, oh shit.
To me, well, for sure there's two parts that definitely, I wouldn't say drag, but are extended probably more than most movies would extend those parts. And those parts are the intro scene where they're interviewing everybody, and also the parts where they're switching in the party scene from conversation to conversation. Those kind of were longer than I feel like normally they would be in other movies. And they did feel like they dragged for me at first, especially the intro part where they're just like interviewing people. But then you kind of start to get interested in the characters, because it feels like, oh, there's going to be, because of the way that the movie starts, right? That first shot with Lou.
In the snow?
Yeah, I think her name's Lou. That's Lou, right? The pregnant chick?
Her name. Fucking can't remember her name. It's I know her. The actress is Sahila Yakub or something. But yeah,
she's hot too. But the fact that
she's fucking bomb.
She's the one who's in the snow though, right?
Oh, this.
Yeah. When she's When she's Lou.
Yeah, Lou.
Yeah.
So she's the one that first shot with her in the snow. It kind of gets you in the state that it's about to be fucking wild, right? It's about to be, something crazy is going to happen. But so once when you go from that to these interviews with these people, it kind of like makes you listen to those interviews and those discussions as like, oh, there's going to be a point to this, and it kind of starts to get interesting once you start getting into it. It did take a little longer, but than normal, but it works, I guess I would say. The second time I watched it was definitely less, like I had that feeling much less.
Yeah, and I don't know if you read it all, because I was reading a bunch of interviews about him talking about Climax. That interview scene was actually like the last scene, even though everything else was filmed in chronological order. That at the end, one of the producer, somebody working on the movie told him like, it'd be really interesting if we got to see the dancers talk more, because we don't really see much besides those conversations. So then Gaspar went back and did they did that scene last. He said they just were, while people were like either like eating dinner and shit, they would call an actor, and they did it in the school, and they just did those interviews just to give a little more context. And he said all those interviews too in the beginning, which a lot of the movies this way is all improvised. He said the only interview part that was actually written by him was the German girl who says that she left her boyfriend because he was dropping acid in his eyes.
That's the only written dialogue of the whole movie, right? I believe.
I think that part's that part's written, and then
there's one other thing,
there was
like a thing that happens, I think, or something he planned.
Yeah, because so I had this written down because he said that. Yeah, actually I put it in the intro. He said that the only really parts of the movie that were written. Wait, I have the intro right here. Even though if you're watching this, you've probably already heard me say this. But let's see in the intro. Let's see, what did I say? What the fuck, bro? Come on, titty. He said while filming Climax, just the premise, some of the characters like personality traits were given to them, and then just the early dance sequence were the only planned scenes in the movie. And then so I think that part was the only written part. But even the dance sequence, he said that the dance sequence was actually done by this girl, Nina McNeely. She's the choreographer that did the dance sequence. And he said too, because he was saying that like, like a lot of people are telling me how great this film is. And he's like, besides like the concept and shit, like a lot of this is the actors and the dancers involved. And because they asked about the sequence, they're like, oh, how did the dance sequence go? And he said that girl pretty much did it. And he's like, well, did you tell her what you wanted? He's like, no. He's like, I just gave her these dancers and like they fucking choreographed this scene, you know? And I was like, that's dope, you know? And like everything was very, very just fucking straightforward. Like the movie was shot in 15 days, which I say in the intro too, which is pretty fast for any movie, especially a movie that was in theaters and shit like that. 15 days is fucking quick.
And then after it was shot, 2 months later, they were already presenting it at Cannes or Con or whatever it's called. So they edited in I think it's Con.
Is it Con? I
don't think you pronounce the S. And it's Gaspar.
I don't know, bro. Are you sure it's not Cannes?
I think it's Con. I think technically it's Con. I heard somebody say that recently in an interview, but it's wild. I don't know. You got to look it up now. Now we got to know.
I know.
I'm pretty sure it's Con. I could be totally wrong.
We really got to get away from this French shit, bro. I can't keep up.
Well, I mean, if that's if Sophia Boutella wants to talk to me in French, you know, I'll learn it.
Wait, let's see.
Do you hear it? It's Con. Is it?
Oh, you're right.
Oh!
Yeah, the S is silent. All right, yeah. So when he presented this at Con, did you hear what he actually did too? When he presented it at Con, they told him. I guess when the movie was presented, because he actually didn't. Because normally when the movies are presented at film festivals like this, they're presented with a synopsis, you know, so you can read. But he said he didn't want to put a synopsis. Like he wanted people to just like, you know, wander in. But then his movie got like selected, so in order to be like voted on, he needed to put a synopsis. So the synopsis for the movie is it's actually in the movie too. It's just birth and death are two extraordinary experiences. That's all it says about the movie. And he said that they kept it on the DVD to release, but he said that he's like, it's funny though. He's like, because I wrote that almost as a joke. He's like, I didn't really want to tell anybody, so he just used that. And then also in the movie, those are two of the scenes. There's birth is an extraordinary experience, and then what's the other one? Death is. There's three, I think. I have them written down. There's let's see. Oh yeah, there was birth is a unique opportunity, and then there's at the very end there is life is a collective possibility, and then death is an extraordinary experience. And it's funny though, because after the first one, the birth, I have so many notes. Birth is a unique opportunity. Right after that, they flash that in is when they show Tito talking to his mom, and she's telling him how much she loves him and blah blah blah, which is, you know, a little bit before this kid drinks the acid and shit, you know.
That's so wild to me. This idea of this fucking 10-year-old being locked in a closet by his own mom on acid in this fucking weird warehouse he's never been in, and with this psycho screaming out around him, and then this loud music playing, and what that type of experience would be for a child like that in and of itself was worse. The idea of how that would be for him was worse than when they killed him in the movie, or when he died because of that scene, that part. To me, just the fact when she locked the door and we knew he was tripping and he's screaming and it's echoing, and different even parts of this movie, it's so, that part was more sinister and more just hard to deal with than even when he died. You know what I'm saying? Which is wild.
No, dude, yeah, it's just like when I was saying about the death, how they don't show it. It's like that too. Like we don't obviously see this kid tripping out, but like you said, dude, I like that you brought that up, because that's honestly one of, I feel like, the strongest effects in this movie is, oh, look at, there it is. Birth is a unique opportunity.
Wow.
It just popped up on the back. But anyways, I think that's one of the best things he does in this movie. I mean, I don't even know if he does it intentionally. I think it's just the building is the way they use the echoes, because like the echoes as she's wandering down the hall fucked up too. And you could hear the kids screaming. And at first you could hear the music pounding, but then as she gets like farther towards the rooms, you could hear the music still, but it's very low. Yeah. And it just all gives, the sound wise, it's just so, like, I don't know. It's like, fuck, I've experienced sound this way. I mean, but I did read though that he said that sound wise and visual wise that he actually really didn't do anything to make it look like they're tripping. It's just natural sound, the lighting and everything, but he didn't actually do anything visual to make it appear as a trip. And it's weird because I feel like him avoiding any visualizations or any fucking weird movements and making things wave or making things sound crazier by just leaving it the way it is with the echoes and just the way the camera work is. I feel like it's honestly one of the most realistic like trips I mean, even though it's obviously blown out of proportion because
I'm glad you said that.
Not everybody gets crazy, you know? Yeah, because you know, like come on, like you know, most people don't act like that. But at the same time, though, if you're around a bunch of people you don't know and you're given a lot of acid and you don't even know you're taking it, who knows how you'd react? Especially because a lot of them in the movie they say like, "Oh no, I don't do drugs," or "No, I don't do this." So it's like that is like, you know.
This is a good point that I'm glad you brought up because me and Monica talked heavily after this, and she kind of like expressed like how it makes her feel weird and she doesn't like that. Because okay, this is where the kind of the part that I think that where it kind of blew up for her. I told her when what's his name, the big DJ dude,
DJ Daddy. Yeah, his he's actual DJ. His name's Kitty Smile. He's an actual DJ, but in the movie his name's DJ Daddy.
Yeah. So Daddy, when Daddy like it's kind of like he's like the dope like rave daddy, you know what I'm saying, where everybody goes to for him, rave daddy.
DJ Daddy?
No, that's Gaspar. That's Gaspar. That's Gaspar. That's the DJ, but that's where Daddy is. I like how you bring it. Damn, this JB from the damn, I love it. On the mobile. I love it. But fuck it, yeah, but so to see this character of Daddy be this guy who people go to for love, it seems like this guy who's gonna be compassionate to everybody and who has good vibes and it has his shit under control, right? To see him, who seems like the most stable character in the movie in a sense, if you get what I'm saying, like for him to get to that point where he's like this untrustworthy, shitty person to people is wild. And I feel like I've experienced that in bad trip scenarios where somebody who you go to for, you know, to hold on to reality turns into somebody you look at as evil and like in those bad trip moments, you know what I'm saying?
Honestly, bro, it's funny that you bring that up because I know the exact scene you're talking about. It's when is it the girl or the gay dude who like comes up to him when they're like tripping, or I think, or
Selva.
it might be Lou.
Selva.
Is it Selva?
Oh, yeah, Lou and Selva, they both I think go up to him, and he's like, ugh.
Yeah, they go. Yeah, because in the beginning, like he's very like, oh, he's there for everybody, he's controlling it. But then you're right, like there's that point where like they're going to him for comfort, like I don't know what's going on, and he's almost like. He's so fucked up too that it's like, just get the fuck away from me. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And like, you're right. I've experienced that with people for sure. You know, I've been that guy. I've also felt like I've had people be that way with me. Actually, no, I feel like not really. I feel like for the most part,
maybe not to that extent. You're not going like, I don't, you're not, you know.
Yeah. For the most part, I feel like us, like we don't like, even when I've had bad times, I'm not going like, I need you to save me, you know?
Not necessarily that. But you have probably in rave experiences and parties or whatever, like we go to certain people for comfort, and sometimes
and they're too fucked up to help.
Exactly, that's all it is. It's not that extreme, but I know I kind of felt that, you know. And basically, I bring that up. Dude. I brought that up because I said that to Monica, and she kind of was like, "Ugh, that's weird." And I think that it kind of scares her, like this idea of complete loss of self and having to rely on people and them being evil. I think that it can be scary and very off-putting to people, and it is to me even. But I think you got to be a little twisted to truly enjoy these type of movies, in a sense, to enjoy the experiences. Sure. You know, you got to have a little extra fucking layer and glow to your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a different way. I'm not saying we're better or nothing like that, but I'm just saying there's got to be an extra shimmer somewhere.
No, dude, I know exactly what you mean, dude. I remember, like, I mean, it reminds me of Coachella. Like, I don't want to say his name, but I remember at Coachella when you guys were calling me and like,
oh yeah,
hey, like, hey, like, we need you to come help with him. And in my mind, I was like so fucked up that I was thinking,
you were Daddy.
Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, dude, that's how I felt. I was like, sorry, like, I do like him as a person, but honestly, like, I'm too much dealing with my own shit right now to deal with somebody else's shit.
You were Daddy.
And like, it does suck because like, I was like, Daddy, get off me. But dude, I like that you brought that up because there are a couple parts like that. There's a part too that like just that's what I mean. Like without the use of visuals and to do it, he manages to make it so real. Like there's the part where Selva is sitting on the couch and she puts her hands in her fishnets and are like rubbing on her legs. I'm like, dude, like, I mean, I haven't been there, but you know, you do that where you start like almost like touching your skin to like almost like make sure like, okay, like this feels good. And like it almost keeps you like doing something. And then she gets up and just starts screaming and like she puts water on herself. Like, you know, like I've never done that, but I've seen people do that, you know, where they get it's like you're trying to wash it off of you, you know, but it's like you can't do that neither.
Yeah, no, totally. It's fucking. She did that scene in particular is so amazing that she did such a good job with it, and it's so cool because I watched this interview with her yesterday or today, and she said that basically that was one of the only notes that Gaspar gave her was that she should put her hands in her fishnets and then kind of forget that they're in there and then like try to get out and then freak the fuck out because she thinks her hands are in her skin. That was his note to her and one of the only ones, and that also, which is intense to say, adds to your point about how a lot of the way I think the actors express LSD or psychedelic bad trip emotions and actions or whatever in such a beautiful way, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I guess Gaspar said that he. I can't even say it. Gaspar said that fucking, I guess they made this like 2.5 hour long video of a bunch of people who are going through psychological or psychotic breaks.
Oh, I saw that. And he showed them. Yeah,
and he showed all the dancers it. And that they just kind of learned from it and took it and added to it or whatever the fuck. And he just told them, do whatever you think, however you think you would act, do it.
Yeah, no, that's what I read. Like most of it was improvised. I know there are certain parts that were like kind of choreographed, like the scene they actually just showed on the TV with the two dudes talking, the two black dudes. When they're talking about like fucking that chick. I guess that's actually I'll go into it at the end because I saved it for the end. But this is what I always do. But to connect what I'm trying to say is in the very beginning when we see the TV screen. There's all those books and movies. So I went through all that and like, because all those books and movies are actually his and he got them from his basement and put them next to the TV.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
Like they're a lot of them are like they're either things that just have inspired him through his whole career. Some of them have inspired this movie, but there's one I'll get into it when I get because I have them all on a list. Okay. But this part where they're talking though, it wasn't choreographed, but I guess there's this movie and I forget what language it is, but I guess he said that the dialogue is just so sleazy, and he's like, it's one of the sleaziest dialogues I've ever seen in a movie. And he said that that's what he told those two black guys. He's like, I want you guys to talk about this, like talk about it whatever way you want, but just talk about it in like the most like depraved, sleazy way you can talk about it. So like, that's what I like though.
Yeah.
Like, I like that it does come from the actors, and then he just provides little notes, like maybe try to do it this way, but say whatever you want, but try to do it this way.
So
and it's fucking cool because it's almost like more collaborative than a regular movie where it's all written out for you and you're just reading it. It's like that's cool too, I guess, if you can memorize. But like this, I feel like I would be interested in seeing some of these actors in other movies because if you're just improvising all this, that's a fucking skill right there. You know what I mean?
And on top of it's fucking wild. And in this exact scene was so fucking wild and kind of gross that it was one of the harder parts of the movie, kind of, when they're basically talking about sodomizing a bitch, like in the most disgusting way, and it kind of like gets very uncomfortable, but it's also kind of hilarious. Like
it is. No. It is. It's also like almost like it's like dark humor too, because it's. I mean, and he says that a lot about these movies and like the movies that he likes. When I was reading, like especially the really dark ones, he's like, I love stuff like that. He's like, I like when it's so dark that it's like you have to laugh because it's almost humorous because it's like, most of the time you don't encounter this darkness in your life, so when things get this dark in movies, it's almost supposed to be funny, at least for him, from his point of view. It's like, it's almost like black comedy, like, dark comedy, But no, dude, I agree. Dude, the first time I seen the scene with them talking, I remember thinking that too, like, oh man, this is kind of making me uncomfortable the way they're talking about this chick. But at the same time, the way they're talking so buddy also is like, oh man, it sounds like two friends.
It sounds almost like we might say some shit like that.
Yeah, just being stupid.
Yeah, just fucking around.
Like, yeah.
But I
like
think
they're
maybe
obviously like fucking around and cracking up, you know?
This is another thing that makes me think too, is like the fact that this movie is in another language also adds this weird layer of like foreignness, I guess, or like, I don't know, it adds this weird uncomfortability to some of the dialogue. Obviously that's just to us because we don't speak the language, but there's something to that which I thought was super interesting. Like, I've never really watched too many movies in different languages, and this movie is only about half in another language or so. But you know, it was definitely interesting to really get into a movie in a different language, and yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, no, it is. I like that it's kind of in both too, and I also like to like. I mean, I feel like in a way, I mean, I guess you do need some of this dialogue, but I feel like in this movie too, it could have been like a silent film with just dance and just portrayed without even words. We could have still gotten the gist of it, you know, because they never really show you the acid being poured into the thing. You know, you see it through the visuals, and you realize at the end, oh, it's this chick. But it's like you don't ever really see it, and like a lot of this, I feel like that's why I like this movie so much too. Is a lot of it is just so visually beautiful, even though the scenes are chaotic and gross and disturbing, but visually it's fucking so attractive to watch. And like, even like when it's starting to break down and get crazy, like some of the scenes with Selva, I'm like, fuck, dude, she still looks sexy, even though there's this mental breakdown going. Like, I'm like half hard, half soft. I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? But like, it's a crazy movie, and I'm like, you know, like it's a weird, because like it is like I feel like on one point, especially like the first dance sequence, like is very like there's a lot of sexuality in it without being a lot of sex, you know. And I read an interview where he said that he's like, there's hardly any actual sex in the movie. He's like, there's not even really nudity. He's like, but it also is very sexual though, just because of like the dance and everything. And that's what I like about this movie too. I told Frankie when we watched it, I was like, you know, like, all the scary shit aside that happens, like imagine, I want to do this one day. Imagine fucking taking a tab of acid and sitting in your room and having a playlist and dancing the whole trip, the whole 8 hours. Like it would be crazy, you know, especially if you were fully into it, like just dancing, like, cause you know, like at raves and shit, like when we've been fucked up like that, that's the one thing that keeps me safe. It's like, oh, you're scared, put your hat over your face and just move, you know, just keep moving. You know what I mean? And like, that's what I thought a lot about in this movie. I was like, man, like, if you got a Reddit about all the scary shit, this could be an amazing trip to just be with a bunch of people and just fucking dance your ass off. But obviously, that's not the way this plays out.
Obviously,
they all start turning on each other, which is a thing that I thought was interesting too. He was talking about it and about how the movie is, which I guess I should have noticed, but about how it's about, you know, the falling apart of the group and like creation and destruction. And like in the beginning, when we see the first dance scene, they're all doing it together. They're all participating together. They're all friendly. They talk about in the beginning, there's a cigarette that's being passed around. Like many people hit the same cigarette. They're all very close. But then as the movie breaks down, all start becoming disjointed. And you see it actually, this is what I was going to say earlier, is around, the second half of the movie. It's actually almost exactly the second half. The movie's like hour and 36 minutes, and around 47. Yeah. And around 47 minutes, which would be like pretty much half of the movie, because 45 was 40. Yeah. So it'd be like, that'd be almost half. 47 minutes is when the second dance sequence starts right before that, where they play actually the one where they shoot it from over top. Where you know where it's like over top. And if you notice, that's right before the trip really starts. And if you watch that dance sequence compared to the first one, the second one, because it's all from top, I actually think they're starting it right now. Everybody dances. Everybody dances separately in this scene. Everybody's doing their own thing, which is like, I think supposed to be like the point too, because in the beginning they're all together, and as the acid starts to kick in, you see this scene, and even though it's still a cool dance scene, everybody's doing their own dance. They're not a collective anymore. And then as the scene trails off, you start to see them like writhing on the ground, and then eventually, I love the end of the scene because I love how everybody gets off the floor, and then this is when the second credits start, and The second credits start right after this,
Look at
and
that
this is
evil
like the
bitch.
halfway mark.
Look at that evil.
Yeah,
bitch.
I know.
That's
I know, it's
the
fucking
bitch who spiked the LSD right there, Daniel. She's
It
the
is. It's
mastermind,
crazy.
and nobody knows
But
until
yeah.
you don't know until the very, very end, last like scene, which is wild. I know we're totally spoiling the whole fucking movie for you, but sorry.
It's you knew what you were getting into.
I'm sorry also
But,
that you came and you're not even like, I'm trying to involve you as much as I can. I'm sorry you're sitting out there. And,
No, you're good. I'm looking up stuff.
All right,
I'm looking
cool.
up stuff.
Yeah, if you want to chime in at all, please do. Please do.
I'll go ahead and I'll throw a quote in.
There you go.
All right, Gaspar Noé. Existence is a fleeting illusion. Exploring the meaning of Gaspar Noé's climax.
Ooh, damn, that was poetic.
Yeah.
You kind of look like
dude,
Gaspar a little, like a young Gaspar.
I know. If you shaved your head down,
You good for real. Hey,
I
just,
would
that for
love
Halloween.
yeah, just also though, or you go ahead, Corey. I don't know. You finish your thought. My fault.
Oh yeah, I was just saying. Okay, just because it's on the scene, dude.
Yeah.
I love, and I know you mentioned it earlier. I love after when the dance floor clears off, and then this is like, because honestly, it feels like two separate movies. When I watched it yesterday, that's how I saw it. Like, there's this first 45 minutes where we get to know the cast, we get the fun. It's a fun movie, and then there's this scene, and then after this scene, it just fucking falls apart. And I think it's really cool because right after, so when the scene ends, when they play the credits, they play this song called the song they play during the credits is fucking crazy too. It's called What to Do, and it's by Thomas Ben Galter. And I don't know, Thomas Ben Galter is one half of Daft Punk. So he actually
that's why Daft Punk's on there. Okay.
Yeah, so he actually did the theme song to or he did the music for some of the music for Enter the Void and for Irreversible, the dude from Daft Punk. So he does the song that plays during the credits. And actually the song they're dancing to right now, it's called Dickmatized, and it's by DJ Kitty Smile, the actual DJ that's in the movie. This is his song that's playing while they dance. And then after they play that Thomas Van Galter song, which is cool for the credits, but then after, dude, they play my favorite song, which is also by Thomas Van Galter, and it's called Sangria. And
I love it.
Yeah, dude, that's the start of the second half. And that's when they play that. It's like a building up slowly. And that's when you start seeing I think that's when Selva starts going around and she's like, what did you do to us? Like, what did you put in the, and dude, I love that too. I love that Selva goes up to her, asks her, and she's like, what are you talking about? And then Selva goes away and comes back like 2 minutes later and is like the same thing. What did you do to us? Like almost like she forgot she did it. And I was like, dude, that's so accurate. Things happen like that all the time when you're tripping. You're like,
so wild.
You go back and say that, especially when you're in a bad one, you know, you start going like cyclical. It's like the same thing over and over, like a loop. And it's just done so well, dude. And that song Sangria is like, it's not even like a dance song, but it's fucking like scary. And dude, it sets the tone of like the acid, like, oh my God. You mentioned feel it in your veins.
You mentioned the soundtrack yesterday, and I was like, damn, that's such a great idea. So I played it today when I went to get some weed and shit. And I heard Sangria, and I was like in the car, just like, oh my goodness, lost in the song. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit. It's kind of on some like radio. You get lost in it like a Radiohead song or like some shit. You know what I'm saying?
So I think it's safe to say this isn't Step Up.
That's so funny. No,
it is
not.
Step Up, bro.
It's not.
I don't think we're gonna see Channing Tatum in this one, right?
That would have been dope, though.
That would have been sick. Imagine if he just comes out and just like for one scene. One does one dance and bounces out.
Is there any kind of drum line in there? Nick Cannon features.
Yeah, they just imagine fucking Salva says, "You got served, bitch," and then fucking bounces. Oh shit.
Dude, one of the songs that I wanted to talk about too is just that fucking, since we're talking about the music, is that fucking the opening dance song, Cerrone. It's by this guy Mark Cerrone.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you say it, Cerrone, I don't know.
Probably.
But he's like from he was like the French king of disco in like the 70s and 80s. And I've heard other music by him when I used to work at Rhino, and it's actually really dope. So when I saw this movie and I found out that first song was by him, I was like, oh shit, because that song, it's called Supernature. And that fucking song is crazy. The one they dance to. Like every time I start the soundtrack, that's like I'm in my car, like fucking going crazy.
Have you heard the original version, or is it just the climax edit that you've heard?
No, I've heard the original one. It's similar. It's just way longer because all his songs are like 8-9 minute songs. You know, like they just keep going. So it's the same song. It's just like cut down. You know, for the movie purposes.
I'm playing it right now in the background so people can hear it a little bit.
Oh, that's dope, dude! It's such a fucking dope song.
It is, dude. It's fucking
dude.
something.
It's a crazy fucking.
Yeah,
it's like.
Dude.
There's a couple really good songs that are on here too. Like another one that I want to bring up is Window Licker by Aphex Twin. They play that later in the movie when everything's like falling apart. And I don't know if you've ever seen an Aphex Twin set. I've never seen one personally, but I've watched like videos and like if you've ever listened to Aphex Twin, his music's really fucking weird. There's actually a really funny video like a year or two ago when the last Coachella actually happened because he was there. And there was this chick, this white chick who was like, went to see him because he's a DJ. So her and our friends went to see him. And then she does a video after. And she's like, for all you people who want to go see Aphex Twin, don't. It was the scariest thing in my life. And she plays little clips. Because like during his sets, he'll play like babies like crying and screaming and like crazy noises. And like his sets are super crazy psychedelic. Yeah, dude. If you look at pictures of Aphex Twin too and shit, like, watch, I'll put some in the thing. It's kind of scary, dude. His music's dope. You'd probably like it. It's very different. There's a lot of different shit. Like there's like he does ambient shit, but then he does crazy shit like the Window Licker, which is in this. But he's kind of a weirdo, but he's dope, dude.
Well, that's what's up. I remember I didn't get a chance to hear that track.
Yeah, it's towards. I think it's towards the end of
God. This is.
Are you looking him up?
Yes.
I was looking him up right now.
Well, I would, if somebody would ask me who, I would have said that's. Oh yeah, it's a couple European DJs. I've heard about them. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know it sounds like two, but nah, this is that fool.
I feel like I've had this conversation before at Raised before, like, who are they? And they're like, dude, it's one guy, dude. You know?
Yeah, it's weird too because it's not like I said, it's not like who you're gonna go see at EDC to fucking dance to. You know, it's more like going to see a Flying Lotus set. You know, it's
or
like,
a Gaslamp,
gonna be fucking,
or whatever. Gaslight or whatever it's fucking name.
Gaslamp Killer.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, dude. I love the music. I think the music adds so much to the movie, and I'm glad that I checked out the soundtrack, that Sangria track, and then that Climax edit track. That what is it? Supernature. Fire. Supernature. Fucking fire, dude.
Fucking dude, that song is fucking fire. I remember one time we're at Adam's house or something, and Dado played it during the DJ set, and I was like, "Fuck, dude!" I was like, "This shit is dope." Like, always like. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, "Dude, all this music would be dope to drop during a set." Like, Dickmatize, that Kitty Smile song is crazy too. And there's other one that's called not Supernature. It's called Superior Race, and it's by like Doppelcraft or some shit. I don't even know.
I heard that one.
But that song's fucking dope too. The soundtrack's just amazing in general. You know, and
it's
I heard
so weird,
he put it together all himself.
I would never have thought that you'd get into that type of shit, like, because you've always been like not into EDM, or not always, but you haven't been in a long time. I know you kind of
I do kind of like this EDM though, and I think though maybe too the way it was put in the movie and like the feelings it gives me, which now is interesting, definitely adds to what I like about it. You know, which is interesting. It gives me this like psychedelic, like it sounds like this is what I should take acid to, and like just fucking. Lose my mind. It's
so weird how music is like, that's another thing that I love thinking about. It's just like how a lot of what you think you like and you don't like is bullshit. Like you just want to feel good, and you associate music with what makes you feel good. You know what I'm saying? So like it's weird to me. I don't know. That's a weird concept, but yeah, man, look, we're right here in the middle of the fucking movie, right when it fucking starts going dark.
Dude, yeah,
and it just goes to black. And into the Sangria. What a shot!
Yeah, and then this is when Sangria starts too. Yeah, the
song
starts right here.
Wow. Yeah, when it gets dark. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. And that's why it's interesting. It's like directly in the middle of the movie too, so it does kind of separate the movie into two parts without ever saying part one, part two. You know,
I kind of want to watch the second half.
Movie. Oh, dude, the second half's the worst half. Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst, but that's when it's like, oh, dude, this part too.
This bitch.
Not this part, but the part when this bitch pees on the dance floor and keeps dancing.
What is that to you?
We've seen that happen before, bro. What?
Wait, we have? In the middle of the dance floor? I mean, maybe not talk about it. But yeah, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Somebody peeing on something? Yeah. I remember that.
Dude, I remember when we watched this, me and Frankie, that was like the scene when she started peeing where I looked at Frankie and I was like, dude, this is getting too real now. Like, I was like, this is giving me bad feelings. I was like, I've seen this happen before. Like, I don't want this happen again.
Oh, now I remember. It was at Coachella?
Yeah, it was at Coachella.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about another person I know quite closely who supposedly peed on someone's furniture one time at a house.
Oh, I don't even know that story. That sounds like a story though.
Like the Brady Bunch shit.
That'd be fun.
It was supposedly, there was no proof. But anyways.
No proof, man. I don't believe it.
No, but this is look at there's Daniel trying to smash right there too on screen. Daniel's trying to fuck that.
Oh, bro. Okay, so this part, all right. This part too, like, okay, so I've never had this. I've obviously never had this happen to me like this.
Not that
but
deep.
dude, it reminds me of one time. I don't know if I told you about this. I'll just fucking say it just because it's a funny story, kind of. But me and Frankie went to where did we go? We were at a club, and I think it was either Adam or Thomas. One of them were DJing in LA. So we went to see him, and it was a bunch of like Adam's friends or people from PF Chang's. I don't remember. It was fucking people I didn't know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Frankie were up there, and we ended up like taking some ecstasy. And like for me, you guys know, like I'm a little bitch when it comes to that shit. Sometimes I get sick, so I kind of got a little sick, you know. And at one point, dude, this dude that was like with their group, and this gay dude like saw I was sick, and Frankie wasn't standing next to me, and he came up and put his arm around me like as I was walking. And I was like, oh, dude, he's like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm okay. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, come with me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and then I got mad. I was like, dude, get the fuck off me. Because I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, at first, like, I thought he was trying to be nice. Like,
yeah.
And then after, I was like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, no. And he was like trying to take me away from the rest of the group. And I was like, fuck that. And then Frankie came over and she's like, Corey, calm down. But I was like, dude, this is fucking weird. But dude, it reminded me of that scene in that movie. Because that fool David pushes him off.
A few times.
Then he comes back later and tries again. And I'm like, dude, like, and I'm not say anything about people, you know. I think anybody could do that, you know. But it's like it's a fucking uncomfortable.
It's assault,
thing, especially if you're fucked up. It feels like rapey. Like,
it's
are you
assault.
trying to rape me? Like, what's going on? You know, like I'm saying no. Like,
you know, men get raped more than women. It's a fact.
I didn't know.
Statistically, men get raped more than women.
That's true.
Yeah. So who's the fucking victim?
I don't know if that's
who's the real victim. It is true, but it's because of jail.
It's because of jail. Like, so who's the real victim? Nah, but
I've been playing Sangria in the background this whole conversation, by the way, for the last 3.5 minutes, and it went totally well with your story.
dude, the fucking like this movie just had so many moments that were like, fuck, dude. Like, maybe I haven't been through it, but yeah, honestly, just because, like, I mean, minus like the craziness where people are like cutting themselves and like fucking getting too crazy, like a lot of the shit that happens, I'm like, fuck, man, I've seen people be too fucked up and do things like this or act too much or don't know when they're being too much, and it's like, dude, you need to fucking stop, or girl, you need to fucking stop, like you know. And it's so cool the way they portrayed this. Oh, look at there, she's wiping up her pee right there. And
so what is that move? What is that move? I hate him and I like him. I feel like I am him, which is complicated, but either way,
I like him in the beginning, but then once he gets fucked up, I'm like, bro,
it's interesting though. But it's interesting also to see that he ends up being the most lonely and unloved person in the night, when he's bragging about being the fucking hottest shit, but when shit goes down, he's alone.
I never noticed.
That's interesting.
That. Yeah, he's like one of the few people who end up like completely alone. Yeah.
So that's wild and kind of interesting thing. But
I like how you said it reminds you of you.
I think I am him. Yeah, unfortunately. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. What were we talking about right before that?
We were talking about David, and right before. Oh, you were saying, what's that move? You said.
Oh, that move that she did. So she pees on the ground, and she's the first person to kind of set shit off, but she knows everybody's on acid. So what does she do? She does. It's like a power move. It's like I'm about to fuck you up. And if you look throughout the movie,
that's a total Dom move.
It's true. It's a fucking alpha dog move. And she is like kind of And I mean, she's in the back of scenes. If you watch the movie, and she's in the back, and she's like in the back of the DJ shit like this and all, like she's orchestrating it, and she's evil and love. She's like a sorceress. And if you watch and throughout the movie, you'll see her.
Did I talk to you about this, or did I read that? I actually think there's I think I might have read it in a review of the movie. They actually said I don't know if that was intentional, but they bring that up because how she is, like she's on the stage and it's almost like she's dancing around and like controlling them like puppets. And then in the very end, when everybody's fucked up, she's the only one standing up dancing still too. But she's also the only one. Yeah, because at the end when the fire department comes, like there are people still awake because like there's a dude like scratching his shit and like, but everybody's on the floor except for her, and she's just still dancing in the same spot where she peed, you know. And but yeah, no, you're right, dude. She is. It's very much like, especially when she's on the DJ booth at that one part dancing. It's like she's kind of controlling the group, you know. Yeah. And she's the only one who really doesn't freak out because I mean, she's the only one who knows really what's going on, you know. Wow. So. But dude, this is the worst though. When she catches this motherfucker drinking the punch, I was like, no. I knew it was coming at some point. Like, you could just feel it.
Oh yeah, because he also tried to. She told him like, "Don't drink this." And it's like, okay, he's going to.
Was that the one who knew that spiked it?
Yeah, no, not her. But she's in the movie.
She knew it was spiked.
No, not when she told him, but at this point she knows because everybody's feeling
because everybody's starting.
So look, she's tripping, and everybody else in the party's tripping too. So she's like, "I'm gonna protect my son and lock him in a closet with his electrical equipment." And she's on acid too, and she in her mind, this is the best thing to do for him. So she locks him.
What I want to do when I'm on acid.
She's like, "Don't touch this or you'll die." Look.
Yeah, go hide in the closet.
Yeah, and the worst part is she loses the goddamn key.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when we did Enter the Void, I remember you talked about it, and I noticed it this time when I
look in her heart.
No, but I noticed because you said it when I watched it this time. Like, yeah, like after this scene, like there are multiple scenes where you see everybody partying, and not partying because now it's like chaos. Yeah. You see everybody like going through the shit, and then you see her in the back, like crawling on the ground looking for the key. But the way she's looking looks like how you would look when you're fucked up tripping, where you like keep looking in the same spots. Like, because dude, I've done that before at Coachella where like we'll eat mushroom or something, we'll come back halfway during the day and I'm trying to find the weed, and like I'll keep looking in the same exact spots and bring like, you check there, I'm like, oh shit, you're right. And then you keep looking, it's like you can't even think straight, you know. And like watching this and just knowing that the kid's locked and knowing what was coming and seeing her search for the key is like very disturbing.
And even it's a background shot too. She in a lot of scenes, she's not even part of the scene. She's just in the background looking on the floor.
No, that's what I was saying. You're the one who made me notice that.
Yeah,
she's like, and it's like, and she's looking in spots that it's like obviously it's not there.
Exactly.
Otherwise you would see it, you know. But it's very like, oh shit, that's what you would do, especially if you were.
So she lost this key and she's just looking for it the whole time in the movie.
In the background.
Yeah,
as everybody's
background looking for the key because she locked her kid in this play
Yes.
And then at one point in the movie, the music's playing and you don't even see it. And then the music just cuts off and the lights, and you realize that the whole power went out because the kid touched the thing and fucking fried himself. And dude, that was like, it's so much. Like it's such an intense scene. Even without showing it, it's so intense. It's like, fuck.
And not even that. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just not even that. Everything, these like security lights come on, so the entire vibe of the movie changes. It all becomes red and evil and upside down. I believe it becomes. They
do.
Time.
When they follow Selva in the hallway, they do that spiral thing where it goes up. It's like doing circles, and that's a crazy fucking effect.
I love that. Yeah, dude. I love his camera work. It's so Daniel, you need to watch it, dude, because you'll like it for the camera work. But
the camera work is crazy.
And he shot every single frame. I read, or Salva. Well, I forget her name. Sophia Boutella said in the interview. Yeah, she said in the interview that Gaspar controlled the camera for every single frame, even on the crane shots.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's wild.
Really?
Yeah, every single shot. That's what she said. I don't know if that's true, but every single shot he held the camera, even the crane.
Dude,
it's fucking crazy.
Dude, it is. It's a wild fucking. It's a wild scene once those lights go out, and then I like that you brought that up though. The camera rotating that part. I actually wrote that down too in my notes because that part is like fucking crazy. And then at the very end, when everybody's on the floor and the camera's just walking around and like it's like flipping and like fucking like moving at weird angles, and it's just like, and it just feels like, it almost feels like hell at the end, like a depiction of hell, you know? It's like fucking the people are on the ground, like the fucking sister has a seizure, and it's like, you know, like, and that sister brother thing was fucking gross.
Yeah,
but it's a great camera work. But what I was gonna say right before you said that was it's also very it adds to the darkness though too, that when the kid gets fried, that the fucking they're talking about it, like the dude's like, oh, Tito fried himself.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
one of them says it, and then they all start kind of laughing, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I got the music, and he gets just the big boombox, and it's like they don't even give a fuck that the kid's dead, because they're all so like, it's just like almost like a joke, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like it just adds to the like, oh shit, this is horrible.
See that
terrible.
So and this is another thing I want to touch on. So in talking about Monica, I talked to Monica about it, and she was just like, I'd never want to do acid and this and that, and it kind of like was like, fuck, I never should have showed you this fucking movie in a sense, because like, in my opinion, I think this borderlines, and this is a fucking controversial thing I might say right now, and I'm not really, it's kind of hyperbole, but I said hyperbole, I feel smart, but I feel like this movie borderlines LSD propaganda film in a beautiful artistic way, which is kind of meant to be exaggerative, if that's a fucking word, and explorative, I think that's a word, and colorful. It's like it's definitely meant to be an LSD bad trip horror film, right? But it borderlines propaganda in a way, because, you know, people who don't take psychedelics might think that this is what's gonna happen no matter what if there's a couple dozen people on acid in a room, when in fact, in my opinion, I don't think it would be like this. I think it would be moments of terrifying fear, of emotion, and possibly minor moments of violence. But I think that eventually it would end up being a calming, peaceful experience for everyone. Inevitably, I don't necessarily think that it would become this wild. And obviously, I don't think that the movie's trying to say that. But yeah, I don't think it would be this wild. I think it could be. But I think more than likely it would not be.
So to comment on that, there actually, did you know that? I mean, it says in the beginning of the movie, but that it's just very, very loosely. He said it's just an adaptation, but it's just loosely based off of an actual event in 1996, and that's what they said. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people actually doubt that the event that they're even talking about is real, but they said that in that though scenario, they say that this happened, but they said it wasn't like this. Like people were freaking out, but nothing bad like this happened. It was just like everybody was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck's going on?" You know? Yeah. Which is, you're right. That's would be more accurate. You know, like I mean, of course, this is supposed to be for the movie, and I guess it depends who you're with. But yeah, I feel like,
you get what I'm saying,
at least in my experience, acid it generally tends to make people less violent. Yeah, at least for me, you know. Yeah, like I feel like violence is the last thing I think about when I'm on. Bro, it's super lagging. Like the picture's lagging. If you're lagging, like your video.
If you want to disconnect and reconnect, you're good. You just go ahead and.
Is it me? All right,
it's just you. Yeah, I'm good. We're good.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm gonna take a piss actually. I'll see.
All right.
Is it better? Hold on. Let me pee real quick. Hold on. Sorry.
You got to watch this movie, Daniel.
I know. I was just seeing. So I haven't found anything that says about an incident that exactly or like that directly relates to it, but it might have been like something like a telephone down the chain. It got changed because in 1996, the cast and crew of Titanic were spiked.
What?
Yeah. So in 1996, I remember hearing about this too. Like at one point, the cast and crew of Titanic were spiked, and they were all tripping balls. Like everybody that was in the cast and crew of Titanic. Yeah, that's a definite thing. It's like a known thing too. So it might be like people saying it somehow got it switched around to saying that it was like something like that, but it's probably based on the fact that Titanic had a day in 1996 where they were all spiked with LSD.
Dude, yeah, okay. So what you're saying, Dan, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's
What?
August 8th, 1996. The casting crew of Titanic were ready to wrap up scenes set in the present day and move on to Mexico. Filming at night, the crew broke for lunch around midnight. A local catering company had provided, among other options, a clam chowder. And apparently the clam chowder was spiked with PCP.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How did I not know about this?
Who took? Did Jack and Rose take it?
No, I don't think so. It says Bill. It says Bill Paxton and a couple of the other actors, but it doesn't say anything about Jack and Rose. They probably were fucking in the car, bro.
That's probably when they filmed that scene. That scene wasn't even in the script.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. I didn't even know that. That's
wild.
A good find, Daniel.
Good find.
Good find, bro.
Yeah.
But no, that's crazy. I didn't even know that, dude. That's pretty wild.
So
Yeah, I don't remember what we were saying before you walked away, Mike.
Sorry.
Anything? Nothing?
I don't remember.
Do you have anything big you want to say? Because if not, I'll get into some of these books and movies that were on the side.
I did want to kind of touch on. I was gonna say touch on Gaspar. I did want to kind of touch on Gaspar in a sense of I think he may be my favorite director or filmmaker right now because nothing makes me feel a type of way like the movies that I've been watching by him. And they're uncomfortable and weird and sometimes prolonged, but I just love it. I don't know if we're wrapping. That's more of like a wrap up thing to say, but yeah, it's just, I really fucking like it. I'm definitely going to watch Irreversible. I just haven't had the time and I can't watch it with the girls around. And I can't even watch it with them really in the house. I feel like it's
because of the sounds too.
Yeah, the sounds too. So it's like I'm trying to find the right time, and I also don't want to watch it on my computer with headphones on. It feels creepy. Like I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Irreversible is a movie, Daniel. I will not describe to you because I don't want to spoil it. Like I spoiled Climax for you, but you should watch it. Irreversible. All right, it's gonna be rough.
all right.
It's gonna be probably rough, but it's.
I've been going through the gauntlet. So
you know what's
yeah,
that's good.
These Nick Cage movies are really getting.
That's what I was gonna say. So Sophia Boutella, who plays Salva in this movie, is actually this leading actress in Nicolas Cage's new movie, The Ghost Lamp or whatever that comes out this month.
I don't know.
Yeah, some new Nicolas Cage movie that comes out the end of this month.
There's one that I want you guys to watch though. He's a samurai. And that's
I think I've seen. Is that old?
No, it's not. It's bad.
Oh, we talked about this.
I'm sure it's really bad. I haven't watched it, but I know it's really bad. We'll figure it out. We'll get a Nick Cage day.
Yeah, we should watch that one with Salva in it, maybe. It looks like it's gonna be good. Yeah, I'll send
like
it to you.
This all seems pretty fucking. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about this. It seems like a really, really bad trip. Like it was already pretty provocative and things, but it just seems like it just went really downhill.
Well, look
Do
at her.
all these people know that they were tripping?
No, they did it
in this
at
movie.
Mm.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, and if they're tripping hard, then I would be. This all seems about right.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Like, I feel like the craziness also comes from that. It's not even like necessarily the drugs. Like, a lot of the craziness comes from them. Like, oh my god, who fucking did this to us? Like, like everybody's mad, which rightfully so. Like, if you're not expecting to jump into something like that, and then it's like almost like a collective anger that kind of, when you got a lot of people angry and fucked up, like things tend to spiral out of control. And I just want to say this because earlier you were saying that, Mikey, about how you thought it could be like a LSD almost propaganda. But when I read, I actually watched, there's an interview with him, and I think I told you about it on the last one. He said that he's like, a lot of people are going to take that maybe it's like out bad about LSD. He's like, but that's not my intention. He even said, he's like, in my experience, he's like, the most terrible things I've ever seen people do, he's like, are off of alcohol. He's like, alcohol makes people into animals and beasts. He's like, of course, LSD and things like that can heighten it. He's like, but it's the alcohol at the center of it. And then he also said in another interview, they were talking about drugs, and he's like, he was just saying, he's like, I'm not against anything, he's like, he said everything is good in microdoses. And I was like, that's true. Like, cause he was saying, he said that he doesn't do a lot of drugs at all. He's like, but I will do them. He's like, sometimes cocaine could be a good thing if you need to stay up all night. He's like, anything's good in little amounts. He's like, he's like, so when I watched the interview and read that too, I was thinking like, it made me think, okay, maybe this isn't supposed to be LSD propaganda. He's just
I don't
kind
think
of,
it is.
Heightening the sensations of everything. And then, on top of that, the fact that he let the actors decide where they want to go with it. Like, so it's like a lot of that's them too, I'm
so fucking glad you just said that, because that was another thing I wanted to bring up, is that like, how interesting is it that, I mean, obviously, first off, that the movie was made the way it was and mostly improvised. The actors did most of the fucking writing, basically. That's super weird and super interesting. I would love to see a documentary about the making of this movie. But how interesting is it that when these actors, or mostly dancers who don't even really act, right? I think most of them were dancers who didn't really act that much. How interesting is it that when they were told, hey, act how you would think you would act during a really, really bad trip, and they decided to take it to this point of evil and psychosis, and I'm sure they were kind of guided that way, but it's just kind of like interesting that they decided to take it to where it was mostly these evil, like in bad or wrong or whatever the fuck, horrible things that they did. And it's just interesting to me that they decided to go that way with it. And maybe
you also said that he showed those videos though of like the psychotic breakdown, so like they probably already had an idea that he wanted it to go there,
That's true. That's true. Or not, I feel like it was meant to be not like bad trip, but the way that the dialogue was worded and the plotting and the writing kind of was, how certain people ended up in bed with certain people, and how in the end of the movie, some people were fucking chilling. They were sleeping on the floor, like in a certain, like a party would be. And some people were fucking dead. And like how they, as actors, got to that point is wild and interesting to me. I think it's super cool, dude. Like the actor, did you actually, I don't know if you've been through the because I sent you the intro and the pictures. Have you been through the pictures? I haven't. No, not yet.
Oh, dude, it's really cool. I put 2 in there that are just fucking. Honestly, they made me smile because there's pictures of them on the red carpet. All of them, like Gaspar and all the dancers and the kid too, and they're all like smiling. It's all happy, and it's cool because like after watching the movie, it's dope to see, because he said that too. He's like, this is one of the only movies I've ever done where there was no on-scene fights, there was no animosity, everybody got along. And then the kid actually, he talked about the kid too in an interview, and he said he can't see, he was saying he can't see the movie right now, like because he's too young. But that the kid was saying after they made the movie that he's going to be a film director and a dancer. And I was like, that's so dope. And there's like a picture of him dancing with the mom on the red carpet. And I was like, dude, it's so dope. Just because like after watching the movie, I was like, I kind of needed this happiness. I needed to know that they were all okay, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And the pictures are cool. Like, that's why I sent them in there. I was like, I'm going to throw those in there just because they kind of make me happy seeing them all together. And even Gaspar looks happy, you know? Like they all just look excited, you know, which is kind of cool, because that's what he said. He's like, everybody, because they were I think you said it, I say it in the beginning too, that actually the only 2 people who really had acting experience were Selva, which is Sofia Boutella, and Lou, who was Sohila Jacob. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I was trying to find a way to see if I was saying it right, but those are the only 2. I guess he wanted them though because of their parts, because her parts Lou's the one with the abortion, and then Selva's obviously like our main character in a way. He said that he wanted them to be actual actors because there were things that he wanted them to do that he felt like you needed acting experience. Because I know one thing they said about when they casted Selva was that he liked the way that she could scream. Like he wanted somebody that could scream that way, you know, because her screams are crazy as fuck. And then he was saying Lou's part too, like he's like, it might be too complicated for somebody who's never acted before, you know, especially with that whole fucking abortion scene and shit, like the forced abortion. That shit is terrible. I fucking hate that scene, to be honest. That's like one of my least favorites, when she's punching herself in the stomach. Like it almost makes me want to throw up just because of the way she's like, it's like kind of like, oh man, fuck. It just makes me think of it, you know?
It kind of feels like that was a moment where me and Monica talked, and we were like, is that real? Like, I don't know if like, just because I don't care how many, I don't care how many people are. She was like, I would never do that. Who would do that?
I think it was supposed to be, I
get the mob mentality and you're scared.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that to me, that doesn't, there was a couple steps missed in that scene to me, in the believability of it, maybe.
I feel like though, it's just like the movie, like he just tackles ideas that, you know, a lot of people don't really play with it that way, you know, like, you know, like he just like
somebody's dying.
Like, because, you know, like if you see like most movies that maybe
Somebody's
deal
fucking
with,
in the back. Sorry, go ahead.
I think I read it. I think I read him saying in an interview, like you see a lot of movies that deal with maybe abortion or incest or something like that. And normally that's the main focal point of the movie. And his movies are not like that. His movies, these are like side notes, like the brother and sister. That's probably like, honestly, one of the most tolerable things that happens in this movie. There's also the little kid who dies. There's the forced abortion. Like there's all this shit, but none of that is also the essential part of the movie. It's he just kind of throws them in there, you know, or they're just thrown in there, which is very interesting. And he talks about like, that's why he does it that way. He's like, a lot of people are scared to tackle these issues. And when they do, it's the biggest issue in the movie, when it's like, some of these things happen fucking every day. So he just throws them in there as if they're just everyday occurrences, you know? And they do. People have abortions every day. People fucking kill themselves every day. People,
brother and sisters
fucking kids get hurt. Day. Yeah, fucking incest happens. Shit, crazy shit happens, bro. So like it's he's just like you said, dude. I think right now too, after watching this again and after doing Enter the Void and just actually like digging into these movies, I think for me too, he might be like one of my favorite directors right now. And I actually, after watching this yesterday, I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch Irreversible too. I'll probably just end up watching it alone though, because I know Frankie don't want to see it. But I gotta see everything now by him. I feel like their experiences, like they'd be cool. I want to see his first movie too, Carne or whatever.
I think there's one called I Stand Alone.
Oh yeah, that's the second part of Carne, but it ended up being its own standalone movie. It was supposed to be the second part, but he said it ended up being its own thing.
Wow.
I don't know if that's why it's called I Stand Alone.
Just do an episode on all his fucking movies, bro.
Dude, I know.
There's that one. Did you see that thing I sent you? Did you look into it?
I went to the website you sent me, but and I read like the synopsis, but I mean, I didn't see if there was a trailer or anything like that.
There's no trailer, and it has not even
here's Daddy
been released. There's Daddy. Oh shit! This is when he's like, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
this looks so uncomfortable. It is. I can't hear it.
You're excited though.
A little bit, but this whole thing is just so uncomfortable.
Look at him. Oh my god, that's some Beast shit. Beast would do that with his hair.
Yeah, I've seen him do that.
In a skirt.
Yes.
You know, there's so many fucking like books and like movies in the beginning. I was gonna go through all these, but now I'm looking at it. I'm gonna just go through some of the more important ones. These that are in the beginning, and unless you have something else to say about.
Go ahead.
All right, so the one that I was talking about earlier, that those two dudes when they were having the conversation and it was supposed to be sleazy, that comes from a movie. It's in a different language, but it's called The Mother and the Whore. And he said that it has like the sleaziest dialogue he's ever heard on screen. So that's like what he told the two guys. Like he's like, talk, you know, in the most fucking derogatory way you can. And then he also said he took from there's also Eraserhead and Dawn of the Dead is on the side too. One of the movies that you see on the side. And he said that those are because like Dawn of the Dead takes place in a building where everyone is turning into zombies, you know, as the movie goes on. And it's like in a way that's sort of a metaphor for what's happening here, you know, slowly everybody's turning into not their normal selves, you know. I mean, a lot of these are very like loose, you know, they were just thrown in there, I think, to show, because he said too, like a lot of these aren't even just influences for this movie. They're like influences for his career in general.
Yeah, okay.
Because he also talks about this book, this short film. Actually, we may have talked about it before on the Death Grips one. It's called Un Andalou. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's by Louis Bunau and Salvador Dali. And Salvador Dali. I don't know if you know Salvador Dali. He paints crazy ass fucking pictures. He's dead now, but it's a fucking crazy movie. It's like 30 minutes, but it's like it opens up with this eyeball being cut, and then it has like it's like a bunch of just like visuals, you know, like with no story. It's like surrealist. So that was like one of the things he pulled from. There's this thing called The 120 Days of Sodom. It's a movie. It's actually it's actually based off this book by Marquis de Sade, and it's actually one of Epstein's favorite books, and actually a lot of people read it. I can't believe it. Like I've read it on Wikipedia, like what it's about, and I just wouldn't read it. But it's like about all these like, because it was written like I want to say 1800s, maybe before that, but it was about like these rich like affluent men who leave their lives for a little bit, and they go to this castle in the mountains, and they take all these young boys and girls, and for like 3 months they just rape, torture them, have sex with them, do all this shit, and then at the end of the 120 days they kill all of them, and then they go home from the mountains and they feel all refreshed and young and rejuvenated, and like it's very Epstein-ish, and it's crazy. Yeah, dude, if you look at Marquis de Sade, it's like that fool was I don't know if that was his real name, but he was arrested a lot for doing like crazy ass like raping people and shit, but he wrote these books and people still read them, and I'm like, bro, like I don't even want to read that shit. Wow. But like, there's a movie, somebody made a movie about it too, and that's one of the movies they
made a movie about that movie. They made a movie of that movie.
Yeah. If you look it up, it's called the 120 Days of Sodom. I've never watched it, but then there's this movie though that it's on the side, and I never heard of it, but it's called The Inauguration of the Pleasure Dome, and it's by Kenneth Anger. And so this movie was made after the dude Kenneth dropped LSD with Aldous Huxley, who wrote A Brave New World, and he wrote The Doors of Perception. And Aldous Huxley got Aldous Huxley got the acid from Albert Hoffman, and they did it together. And then this dude Kenneth made this movie, and I don't even know what the fuck it's about, to be honest. What I read is they said that it features historical figures, biblical characters, and mythical creatures as they gather in a pleasure dome. And it's like just a visual feast of like superimposed images and hallucinations. But Gaspar said that this movie, though, for him was like the first. He said it's the first movie that he's ever seen that's like made about like LSD and psychedelics. It's from like the 40s or 50s, but we should check it out. It actually seemed kind of interesting, that one, The Inauguration of the Pleasure Dome. Yeah. And then there's also Suspiria. Have you ever seen Suspiria?
Hell no, I never heard of none of those.
Okay, I haven't seen the old one. The old one's by Dario Argento. Sorry, that's the one he's talking about. But there's a newer one that just came out like 2 years ago, like a remake. But this movie's it's cool. I want to see the old one because the new one was cool. It's about these witches in it's about a dance school though, and it's like there's a lot of crazy dance sequences, but it's a horror film like with dance, and it's obviously you could see how that inspired this, you know. And then there's there's so much shit. There's this thing called Schizophrenia that's there. It's another movie that's about this dude who gets released from a mental asylum and goes, I guess it was banned for a long time when it came out, but he goes around killing people. But I guess it's highly acclaimed for like the camera work of it, because I guess the camera angles are crazy. And then there's so much shit.
There's one that's like a popular movie, right? Like a popular I recognize a couple that were like.
There was Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. That's the one. That's the only one I recognize, I think.
Have you seen Taxi Driver?
I've heard of it. That's the only one I even heard of.
Bro, Taxi Driver is an amazing movie. I've only seen it once, but it's a crazy fucking movie.
Pretty fucking movie.
But yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to get in all these, but there's a lot of shit, dude, in here. Like the books are crazy too. There's a book on there. A lot of the books are in French though, so like I had to look them up. But one of them's like Suicide. It's called Suicide. And it's called How to Succeed at Suicide. And it was banned in France for a long time. But Gaspar said that he read it when he was like way younger. And he said the whole book is literally about the best ways to go about killing yourself and shit. And dude, he talks about all this crazy shit. Like,
what does Gaspar do to get a boner, dude? Like, he seems like he's fucking into some weird shit. Like,
well, dude, that's what he talks about. So one of the things, one of the things too is called a Harakiri, and I guess it's this French magazine. And he said that's what it was like Mad magazine when he grew up, and he said it was super anti-religious, anti-government, all this shit. And then there's a quote for him. He said, "For me, it was the best humor I'd ever seen in my whole life." And like because he talks a lot about how like a lot of this shit is funny to him, you know, because it's so. I told you, like, it's so dark and deep. Yeah. Like the suicide thing, he talks about that too. That there's a book called The Sorrows of Young Werther too, where it's all about like how when you're younger, like in your 20s, like suicide almost seems like it could be very romantic and beautiful. Like, oh, we'll kill ourselves together and all this shit. And it's crazy, dude. Like a lot of the influences that are on the side are just fucking crazy. And then there's a lot of Nietzsche stuff too. Nietzsche, who is a philosopher, and he's actually one of the quotes that the girls say in the beginning, that anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The girl says that in the interview. He said he didn't plan that either. He's like when I heard it, he's like, I was like, oh yeah, because he's like, Nietzsche, like that's one of his most famous quotes, and like it kind of adds to what's going on with the movie. He said that too. He's like, so if you're ever in like a bad trip, he's like, just think about that, and he's like, everything will become clear. Like it's not killing you. It's just you're gonna get stronger.
That's crazy.
There's fucking a bunch of shit, dude. He even has the metamorphosis in there. That's the one I told you where the guy slowly turns into a roach. Yeah. I said that's what's gonna happen to you during quarantine. Like that book's on the side. There's fucking a lot of shit, dude. Oh, the last one that I really want to bring up though is just because there's a bunch of shit. There's a bunch of shit in French too that I really couldn't find English translations for, so I didn't know exactly what they're about. But there's this dude Pierre Molinier. He's an artist, and one of the books is a biography about him. But I thought his story was very interesting. He's this artist, and he would like dress as a woman and like do these crazy paintings and shit, very controversial. And then he decided to kill himself, and he wrote a note that said he was going to do it on this day at this time. And when that day actually came, he ended up having lunch with his daughter. And then after the lunch, he told his daughter, okay, like I have an appointment with myself. And then he went back up to his room and he shot himself in the head and killed himself. And Gaspard talks about how he's interesting. He talks about, he's like, I've always been very interested when people do things like this. He's like, when you can make your death into something beautiful or artistic. And he said like, he really likes him because of that. He's like, I love that he planned it out and he stuck to it and did it. And I was like, dude, this is such dark shit, but like, that's like, gives you like an idea of like, obviously what goes into this,
That's what I'm saying, what makes this dude's dick hard? Like, I mean, yeah, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's gotta be in some weird shit.
Hold
on real quick. I gotta see what's going on here. I saw some sort of YouTube video talking about like all the different movies that there were, and I didn't watch it.
There's a lot more that I didn't even fucking mention. Yeah,
that's fucking weird. He's a fucking weirdo, but I love it. And there's something
I love it too, because like when you watch the interviews with him, like even though he seems like a weirdo, he seems fucking like cool though, like you could have a normal conversation with him, and like he wouldn't be just a complete freak, even though he likes freaky things. Like he seems like an interesting person. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up, and it's not a book or a movie. It's actually I saw an interview, and I never heard about this place. I guess he said that the school setting that they use and like the way it was supposed to be, where they're all like just in there partying and shit, is actually he got the idea from this place. It's in wow, I have it pulled up. I think it's in Berlin.
I think I was literally going to see that right now. Berlin.
With the Berghain Club.
I knew that there was some that they shot in some sort of like an abandoned or like
Oh no, yeah. So they shot this in a school. So this movie was shot in a school in Paris, France. But he was saying that there were similarities between. There's a nightclub in Berlin, Germany called Berghain. It's also the Panorama Bar. It's closed right now because of COVID. But anyways, I guess this place opens up on Fridays, and it's open Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday morning, and you don't ever have to go home. There's no rules. Like, so people would go there when it first started, and you'd stay there all 3 days party. And he said that in an interview. He's like, it's interesting. He's like, because people who are hard partiers, they go there and they have amazing times. It's almost like church, because it's like, whoa, like 3 days of just never having to go home. Honestly, no holds barred, do whatever you want, drugs. But then he said other people go and they're not used to this type of life, and it becomes almost like a hell to them, because like you do the wrong type of drug in there. And this place is crazy, dude. There's quotes. There's a whole Rolling Stones article on it. And there's quotes where I guess there was a piss room at one point with huge funnels connected to tubes, so the liquid wouldn't drip on the dance floor, and people would duck their heads under the funnel and get peed on. Like, it was like a sex club too. And like they said, people would bring shit in like Tupperware containers, and like people would just like get blowjobs and have sex right in the middle of the dance floor. And then they said there used to be 2 dark rooms and closable cubbies upstairs, so people can go and like have sex. And there's like this large like bathroom that's for both men and women. But they said that the way the actual building is constructed is that there's no dead ends, so everything kind of connects, so it's almost like a maze. So they said that they do that so the partygoers would never have to like worry about coming to a dead end and like where I am. It just all connects. So they said people sometimes will actually kind of get lost in there because they're fucked up. And they said the bathrooms don't have any mirrors either, to save the partiers from the buzz-killing indignity of seeing their own faces. That's what it says. And then, they would have like these parties called snacks parties, and they were like all male, like crazy sex parties back in the day. But now, like, I heard it's kind of going down the drain now, though, because I guess everybody from around the world has heard about it, and so it's not as like as crazy as it used to be. But they said it's still pretty fucking crazy. One of the girls in the article said she once witnessed a woman who, because I guess at the door it's really hard to get into, especially now. And they said there's no criteria for getting in. It's just if the bodyguard wants to let you in, he'll let you in. If not, they said that they just kind of, the bodyguards just like no criteria. They just, whoever's working that night, you better hope like they're kind of cool. But this girl said that one time she witnessed a woman who couldn't get in, pick up a broken piece of glass from the ground and start cutting her arms in front of the bodyguards, because they said that like people get crazy over there because like sometimes they won't get in and they'll be waiting for hours and they'll just be like no, and they'll let the next people in. And I guess there's rules. People were saying like, oh, don't speak English by the door, act gay but don't act too gay. Like there are things people say to do to kind of better your chances of getting in. But dude, it sounds like a crazy fucking place. I was like, dude, I didn't know this existed.
Wait, how is this connected? He goes there, or what is this?
I'm pretty sure he's been there, but he talks about that some of the inspiration, I guess, behind the whole idea of this just nonstop party came from like that club too, because the club's actually very famous. Actually, after I looked it up, I was like, how have we not heard about it? They say it's like one of the most famous clubs in the world. I was like, I didn't even know about it. I just put something in the Discord too. I haven't watched it yet, but when I was looking up Berghain, I found it, and I guess this is another place. It's a little trailer. It's all in German, so I haven't watched it, but it's a trailer for this documentary, and it looked fucking crazy. It looked like it's like this club. There were people in mud and shit, and I guess it's something similar to that. But I put it in here in case anybody wants to check it out, or we want to check it out. Or,
holy fuck!
Yeah, but it's all in German, so I couldn't understand it. This isn't that place. This is a different place.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, these German people, I love you guys, but I'm not there. I'm a Southern California boy. I'm like missionary. I'm married.
I like missionary.
I like to stay home and just save my money. But holy, that's fucking. That literally, telling me that the information about that made me feel how a Gaspar Noé film makes me feel. So
I know. Wow. Hey, well, speaking of this, should I re-record the intro and say Gaspar? Like, I don't want to fucking. I think I might.
Maybe. I don't know. It's up to you.
I will. I'll do it right after we get off this, because I was like, I don't want to be some fucking noob, some American.
I mean, any final thoughts? I got to take off in like 5 minutes, but
no, that's cool. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I mean, final thoughts is I fucking love this movie, and I thought it was I was really excited to do this podcast just because the movie is like. Yeah, it's great.
It is.
I think it's great.
It was definitely an experience. Victoria, don't be in here while this movie's on, please. This movie is such an experience that you can't watch it, especially 2 frames in.
Too much of an experience.
All right. They got 2 frames in, and she
he had the best time. That black dude. He fucked one of the bombest chicks.
Exactly. He was the one who's like, there's a few people who had a good trip, and so I love the movie. I love his movies. I think that they make you feel something. They scratch an itch for you that's hard to scratch. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I loved it, man. I'm glad you brought it up and we ended up watching it, and we should do another episode on it.
Yeah, and one final thought, actually. Yeah. I meant to bring this up to you, and I was wondering if you noticed this too, is when she's moving down the hallways and all the rooms are different colored, did you get like a Enter the Void vibe? Like
I did a few different parts.
And the way she's moving through. And then there's even the parts where when they're dancing from up top, where every time a new dancer comes on, it almost like blinks.
Yeah, there's
it reminded me of Enter the Void too. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. There's a lot of shit like that. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah,
man.
Man.
Great fucking movie, dude. Great fucking movie.
Loved it. You guys should check it out. If you guys are watching, it's on Amazon Prime. So if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can literally watch it for free right now.
Don't watch it with the kids.
Don't watch it with the kids. Or if you do, just watch the first half, just the dance part. And then just after that, they can bounce, you know? Yeah, so
Daniel, lock them in with the electrical machinery.
Yeah, don't drink sangria.
Get them out after.
You gotta watch it. Daniel, thank you for being here. Even though only the first 20 minutes we were able to do what we wanted to, but we'll figure it out for next time. I think we'll figure it out. But
we should watch the movie.
Continue ironing out the kinks.
Yes, exactly. We'll figure it out. I appreciate everybody who's listened. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Audible Audible_484. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that. So if you guys want to subscribe on there, that'd be fucking awesome. And do you guys have anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at the Un1verse0101. Also on Twitter at the Un1verse0101. Shit, I got music on Apple Music too, and Spotify and all that shit. And join our Discord. It would be really nice for people to be talking to us. I got the app on my phone. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's go.
What about you, Daniel?
And you can follow me at Daniel_Armandares. I post a lot of animal erotica. If that's what you're looking for, just go ahead and search me. Animal erotica. All right. Got a comment for you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Peace out, everybody.